I've been searching everywhere on the internet for videos or tutorials on how to make Gabion baskets out of chain link fence, because I've got a bunch of this 48-inch chain link fence laying around and I can't for the life of me find anything on the internet. I've asked around at landscaping companies. They think I'm crazy because chain link fence is a pain in the ass to work with, and it is, I'm not gonna lie. But I have all this chain link fence laying around and I don't want to build a fence and I need a retaining wall. So this is how I did it. The first problem that I ran into is that, as I mentioned, my chain link fence is 48 inches high. I need my retaining wall to be 30 inches high, 2 feet wide, and it's 14 feet long. So that's a lot of cutting. But it wasn't the worst thing. It took me about 4 hours to cut all of this, and so I haven't cut the top yet. To do it, you cut in the middle of these short spans. So like you would cut here, and then you would bend at the joint and bend on the other side at the joint, and you would essentially close it up just like it comes out of the store where you bought it. Here's the trick to cutting and then closing off the ends of your chain link fence. You definitely want to stake off your chain link fence so that it's nice and tight and it doesn't unravel on you while you're cutting it. You figure out where your cuts are going to be, and then you just make a few of them. Then you take that and then pinch. Yeah, I can do it with one hand. Then you bend, and then, yeah, much easier with two hands though. And there you go. You've got one side and then you got to do the other side. The pliers that I have, I don't know where these things came from. China, obviously. But they were in my tackle box. I must have bought them, God, like 25 years ago. And I really like them for this job because they've got a super wide grip, and they've got these, I think they must be for electricians because they hold wires really nice, and I think that's a crimper. Well, yeah, it's definitely a crimper. The next problem to deal with is linking two sections of chain link fence together. That was probably the biggest pain in the ass, especially because there was a lot of mosquitoes out here that day. I tried using rings like this, made out of sections of chain link fence, all the way along. That was going to take way too much time. I tried using longer sections like this piece here, which essentially, if you know anything about chain link fence, you can link two pieces of chain link fence together by using this like a corkscrew. You twist it around between the two sections, and it's quite easy if you're connecting two vertical sections of chain link fence. Really easy, actually. But if you're connecting two of the horizontal sections with one of the vertical pieces, that does not work. It gets hung up on these little ends, and it was a piss poor time. I was getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, and I was really frustrated. I just stopped. I had a bunch of this galvanized steel pipe lying around and some light duty clothesline, and so I just put the galvanized steel pipe between the joint and I wrapped the light duty clothesline around the pipe and each of these little corners, so it goes around and around. My next step, I do have to make ends for the basket so rocks don't come spilling out the sides, of course. But chain link fence is, again, pretty flexible, so I'm a little worried that it'll just be really bulging with the rocks. So I actually have to make a whole bunch of those the same size, and so 2 by 30 to go every, I think I'm going to do it like every 2 feet or so, so probably around 8 sections of that, just to keep a little bit more rigidity, to keep it from pulling out and bulging way too much. I hope that fixes the problem that I'm expecting to have. I'm not sure, but I guess we will find out. As expected, there's definitely a lot of flex in the chain link. So I had to kind of regroup and figure things out. What I've done is, so I mentioned that I was building these like cross sections, which have definitely added some stability, but the spacing isn't enough. Like you have to put it pretty much every foot along the span to stop it from flexing out. As you can see here, it's like super flexible, whereas here it's not as flexible, and it is nice and tight, because what I've done is I've stretched wires out across, and they're holding it tight from flexing out, and that seems to be a solution. And yeah, so far so good. So far so good. The ties that I've added have been holding up really well at stopping it from bulging out, and I've got 2, 4, 6 of those ties per cage, and then every 24 inches I've got a section of chain link fence going across, which I think was actually redundant. I could have just used more single pieces of wire like that one, just holding it back and forth. I think that would have been sufficient, but I think the sections of chain link fence are also holding up really nicely. So the stone yard gave us much bigger rocks than we were hoping for, but they're doing pretty good as well. So I'm happy with everything so far. I think this is going to hold up really nicely. And yeah, there you go. Cheap Gabion basket.